Happy, happy, happy. So today, what I'd like us to co-create together, I'm going to start talking. However, I do know that it is a co-creation happening at all times. The things I say and what Spirit sends through me transforms our lives, opens our hearts because we're all in this together. It's really a co-creation. However, the title for today, I think you may have already seen it, is Upholding Your Truth and Standing in Strength. Upholding your truth and standing in strength. So I always like to start with a joke because the jokes first loosen me up. The joke also reminds me that sometimes in my spiritual practice, in my enlightenment, in all the things that, the activities that I participate in spirit, which is my every activity, I can get kind of serious and kind of like, okay, all right, I'm doing this now. Okay, Spirit, God, thank you. I'm doing it. I'm serious. So let's start with a little joke, a little giggle. So there was a politician who was going to court. And so before he got on the stand, he talked to his lawyer, and his lawyer said, remember now, if there's anything you don't understand, all you have to, or anything that doesn't feel completely right to you, all you have to say is, I plead the fifth, which we all know about this. Okay, so he gets to court, he gets on the stand, and the bailiff says what they always do, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The politician takes a deep breath, looks around, and says, I plead the fifth. So this is about, we're going to talk about truth and upholding our truth and standing in strength and all sorts of things like that. However, that's a little giggle. And I just want to give a little disclaimer. One of my brothers-in-law is a politician, so I don't have anything against politicians. All right, I just thought that I knew that would be a little giggle for all of us, and we all have our own opinions of politicians, perspectives on politicians, and we know that each one is also what we are, an emanation of the Most High, no matter what we think about their ideas. So standing in strength, it sounds kind of like standing is a verb here, standing in strength. However, what showed up for me is, what is my standing in strength? What is my, your, our, they standing in strength? Where's our standing? Because our standing sometimes, really when you can look at it differently, it's where you are and your rank and your status. Yeah, it's a little tweak on it, a little different a way of looking at it. So what is my standing in strength? And what showed up for me is a Bible verse from Judges 8:21, which says, as a man is, so is his strength. And because we're in the 21st century, I would like to say, as a man, woman, they are, so is his, her, they strength. But really what it's saying is that how we are, so is what our strength is. In what way do we stand in it? In what way are we being it? In what way are we walking our talk, exhibiting it? So is our strength. So I always like to start out by having some definitions so that we're all on the same page, and also so there's clarity as we move along in this co-creation together. So I looked up the word truth because we're talking about upholding your truths or upholding our truths. Standing in strength, upholding our truths. So what I got for truth, a lot of things showed up for truth. Some of the things that showed up for truth is accuracy, actuality, veracity, and the most interesting one for me is conformity with the fact or reality. So those all fit in. However, what is reality? We know that the reality of the divine is formless and changeless, timeless and infinite. However, what is reality to and as each one of us? My reality is something completely different possibly than your reality. Reality has to do with our belief systems. Reality has to do with our perceptions. Reality has to do with a lot of different things, and we'll discuss that a little bit more further along. However, I found that to be uniquely interesting and something that, how does one say, that piqued my spiritual interest. Because what is reality? Reality is the form, possibly the form that we may see with our human eyes, but the divinity of it all may have nothing to do with the divine reality. There's a difference. So then I thought about, okay, so if we are upholding our truths, I'm one of those people who likes to make a lot of lists. So if we're upholding our truths, what does it involve? What does it require? And what does it generate? Upholding my truth, what does it generate? So, some of the requirements for upholding our truth is fortitude. You know, we must have fortitude. If I have a truth, I believe in this truth, I must have the fortitude to follow it through, to hold it, to uplift it, to perpetuate it, to be it, to stand in the beingness. Because this thing about upholding our truths is not the doing, it's the being. Because we do know that, or I'm speaking the word to say, doing really, yes, we are humans. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. However, the being is what actually is our truth on the planet. The doing has to do with our humanness. The doing maybe is part of if we get stuck in the how of everything. And the reason I say if we get stuck, the how has nothing to do with us. I'm sure we all know that. The how has nothing to do with us in our humanness. The how is spirits. The how is spirits gig, so to speak. The how is spirits thing. The how is spirits responsibility, even. However, upholding our truth requires fortitude. It can sometimes require mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. And it always requires boldness. I have a dear friend who her grandmother, who's made her transition, always says, I'm wholly bold. She used to say that, I'm wholly bold. And not Holy, but WH. So it requires boldness to really, really uphold our truth. We get to be bold. We get to step out there. We get to know it. We get to own it. We get to be bold. And I do believe and know that boldness is an integral part of living our spiritual life. Yeah, that we get to be bold. And I don't mean everybody, it's not necessary for everybody to be really just out there. Because as you all know, like David said, it's my third time here, so you can probably see now, whoa, that girl, she's out there. However, and I am, that's the form that our spirit shows up in as me. However, we get to use whatever boldness we have in our lives, whatever boldness we identify with, because it's a God quality, and everything is a God quality, by the way. Even the things that, let's say, the law of polarity, there's one thing and then there's one thing and then the opposite, but it is all God. It's all God qualities. There is no differentiation in any of it. So boldness. And what else does upholding our truth require? What showed up for me as I was being with it is resilience. We get to be resilient about things. It's our opportunity to be resilient, to be kind of like when I was a little girl. Oh gosh, I don't know why this showed up, but when I was a little girl, I used to have a slingshot. Yes, I did. And I know David shaking his head, and I used to use this slingshot, and it was resilient because it was do. Now, I have to say, my parents had rules. I could not use the slingshot towards any animals, small animals. I was not allowed to use it toward my sisters, much to my chagrin. I just really got to just go out in the backyard and just play out in the trees. However, slingshot has resilience, and we get to have resilience for upholding our truth. So those are some of the things that are ours to have, to embrace, to embody, to own, to identify with for upholding our truths. So next thing is, so what does upholding my truth, your truth, our truth, what does it generate? Really, what's it good for? And I know that might sound simplistic. However, it's the truth. What does it generate? So as we uphold our truths, we are open to freedom. The freedom that comes with upholding my truth. Okay, whatever truth is my truth, I get to have freedom. Freedom comes right along with it. Freedom is the fuel that lubricates it, so to speak. We also get to have authenticity and transparency. And those two, I put them together, they go together for me because authenticity is who and what I am. And transparency is where we get an opportunity to be open and vulnerable. Yeah, openness and vulnerability. This is also what upholding our truth brings. Now, this openness and vulnerability requires strength, requires courage, requires bravery sometimes. However, these are some of the payoffs, I might say, from upholding our truth. And the other thing about upholding our truth, it gives us an opportunity to be an illumination of every expansive opportunity of the divine. It gives us a chance to be an illumination of that. Every single thing that is the limitless, infinite possibilities of the divine. So I'd like to share with you a little story that brings some of these things to the fore and illustrates some of these things. There was an emperor, and for some reason he had no heirs. And so one day he invited all the young boys of his kingdom to his palace. And he told them this, and he was an aging emperor, so he's going to need it. He's going to need somebody to take over. So he gives each of them some seeds and tells them to go home, plant the seeds in a pot, and tend to it, and then return to the palace in 1 year's time with their plant. And from the plants they produce, the emperor would decide who is going to succeed him. So they all go home. They plant their pots. After a year, they all come back. There was one boy, his name happened to be Ling, and Ling had nothing to show. He had nothing to show in his pot. He just had an empty plant pot. And Ling didn't really even want to go back, but Ling's mother insisted, you know what? You have been truth-filled, you have been honest, you have stood in your truth, you did what you was yours to do. You were not doing, but you were being what was yours to be. So she persuaded him to go back. So when they all get back, the aging emperor looks at everybody's pots, and when they get back, everyone brings pots with flowers and plants, and just they bring a plethora of wonderful things that have grown. And there is little Ling with his appearing to have nothing. And so the emperor goes all around and looks at everybody's, and then he calls Ling to the front. And Ling is thinking, oh no, my mother was wrong. Now I'm really going to get spotlighted and I'm really in trouble. However, when he gets to the front, the emperor says, you are my successor. And the emperor explained to everyone, including Ling, that he had sent these boys home with boiled seeds, which would not grow. Boiled seeds that no matter what you did, they would not grow. But Ling had shown back up in his truth. Ling showed up upholding his truths. Ling tried and tried and tried, and they wouldn't grow. And so that's how he got to be the next emperor. So what showed up for me there was that Ling was upholding his truths. And the way in which I think that Ling was upholding his truths, and we now get to uphold our truths, is through three things: awareness, discernment, and trust. Now, this happens to, when you put these initials together, come to ADT, which is a security system. I know my daughter has it at her house, ADT. And so we could also call it our own spiritual security system if we want to put a little moniker on it, or David, you would know, a little marketing thing add to it. Yeah. So, but anyway, awareness, discernment, and trust. So in this story, I think Ling was aware that what his to do was to be in integrity. So there was awareness there. And for us today, awareness means being present. Really just being present. And as we all know, Eckhart Tolle, his wonderful books and seminars, being present means living in the now. Not in what happened yesterday, not at what's going to possibly happen tomorrow, just living in the present, being in a state of awareness. And when we are in a state of awareness, we get a chance to accept. We get an opportunity. We get the privilege to accept our immanence, which is the world of matter. The immanence is the world of matter that we are a part of. However, we also get to accept our transcendence, which is the non-material self that witnesses it all. Yeah. Those opportunities are there for us when we allow ourselves to embrace awareness. So that's the first one. The second one is discernment. I believe that Ling was discerning in that, well, maybe because I'm someone's mother. I'm the mother of a son, actually, and a daughter, but I think Ling was discerning because Ling did what his mother said. Just go, just go, just go. Just go back to the palace. However, the way discernment can serve us in this moment is discernment is a recognition of the truth. If we are discerning in what we listen to, in what we see, in what we participate in, it's a recognition of the truth with a capital T that's just there waiting for us. It's just available to us. As well as discernment can be what I was talking about up at the top, a reality check. And by that, I'd like to explain. The reality check is from within, and that reality is the divine reality, the soul reality, the reality of the oneness within us, which may have nothing to do with what we're witnessing with our eyes or what we're experiencing with our body parts. However, if we are discerning and allow ourselves to be discerning, and that discernment has to do with principle, it has to do with all sorts of other things, and it's the discernment of the divine that's in us. You know, what shows up for me now also is the discernment of the Christ consciousness, which is in us all the time. Lives, breathes, has its beingness within, through, and as us. So the second thing, we've started with awareness. Second thing is discernment. And the third thing is trust. Upholding our truths and standing in strength requires trust. And I love, love, love Neville Goddard, and I love, love, love what he says about trust. He says trust is faith in unseen reality. Yeah, isn't that just... It's just so profound, yet so all-pervasive and very easily understandable. So we get to be in trust, and trust is faith personified. As I trust, it's me showing up as faith, as trust. And trust is also acceptance of the infinite possibilities within. You know, Reverend Michael often says, we're not here to get something. We're here to let something. You know, we're not here to get something in our lives. We're here to let it all out, because we are a powerhouse, a storehouse of all God, all the God qualities. And it's our opportunity to be here to let it out, to allow ourselves to know it, to recognize it, to remember it with us, and let it out. Let it up and let it out. So those three things, the way we uphold our truths: awareness, discernment, and trust. Better known for giggles as ADT, because as we know, I like to have fun with spirit. So this is a wonderful opportunity. This is a wonderful formula, and I'd like to share with you briefly how it's been working in my life. I am on a committee. In the CSL system, I am on a committee, and the committee that I'm on is called the Global Services Committee, which is a wonderful committee that really is about propagating CSL around the world. And so on the committee, one of the things we do is give grants to those that request them, because we're about circulation, you know, and prosperity, which we all are in New Thought, Ageless Wisdom. We're all about circulation. You know, as Kahlil Gibran says, the giving hand always receives. So that's what this is about. So I'm on the committee. We have grants. We're going to, about 2 weeks ago, we're going to talk about who gets awarded the grants. I'm on the committee. I love being on it. However, recently I've been really I've been allowing myself to focus on not saying yes too much. Not overdoing, not just like, oh, yeah, I'll do it, oh, yeah, I'll do it, oh, yeah, I'll do it. So on this particular committee, I thought, well, I don't think I want to be a part of the grant process. I love it, but I'm a part of the communication process. I'm a part of something else. So one day before, so the grants were to be discussed and awarded on a Wednesday. On Tuesday, I get an email from the woman in charge of the grant committee, and the email says, I haven't heard from you. You're the liaison for two people who have applied for grants. You haven't reviewed their application, and I just don't get it. What's up with you? That's what it said. Yes. What's up with you? And do we need to assign the people who are the applicants to someone else? Okay, so need I say that email pushed a whole lot of the buttons that I have installed. And some of the buttons that it pushed was, I'm a responsible person. I'm conscientious. I take care of the things I say I'm going to do. I'm not going to leave someone out there hanging. So I got an opportunity to first stand in my feelings of anger and rage. Yes. Anger, just like, and then I thought, okay, Spirit, this is a lesson that I'm not ready for. All right, we're plunged in here together. What's going on? And so I had an opportunity to speak to a ministerial friend directly thereafter. She helped me to focus and breathe. And so what I realized, what worked for me was this ADT. First, I was aware. I was aware, just as I just said to you. It pushed a lot of the buttons that I have installed within me. Okay. It pushed a lot of the, well, I'm a conscientious volunteer. I'm a responsible part of a committee. So it pushed some of those buttons within me. And some of those buttons were that they pushed were, I realized was perhaps my perception of me that some of it might have been kind of fuzzy on the edges. Okay, so it pushed those buttons. So I became aware of that and allowed myself to just be in the present, not in the moment that I read the email, not in the moment the next day when the grant committee was all meeting and I thought I would be there unprepared and leaving people high and dry, but just be present. That's what came to me. Verona, just be present. Just be in the now. And remember, you are not just the immanence, you are the transcendence of the divine. Second thing was I had an opportunity to discern what really was the truth going on here and what was the reality for me. Third thing was I got to trust that, as I said, this is a true faith walk. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, that this for me was really what was happening. So I got to have a heart knowing and also know about the infinite possibilities. Long story short, when I used ADT, I was able to calm down, breathe it through, be in all these states of being that I just listed, and wrote an email back that said, I am available to be the liaison, and and I'm a relatively new member on this committee. As a new member on the committee, I would also, in this moment and in the future, appreciate all the criteria being given to me, and I would also appreciate if some responsibility shows up for me and I'm not aware of it. I'd appreciate getting the emails about it before it's 24 hours. So it gave me an opportunity to also really plunge into compassion. It gave me an opportunity to be in a place of forgiveness, and also it gave me an opportunity to really take a look at myself and how does one say, my service ethic qualities, I guess is the word. However, it just did give me an opportunity to be in a place of awareness, of discernment, and trust. And it all got settled. Long story short, we all know how spirit works. I was able to talk to the people who had applied for the grants. They were over in another continent. They stay up late. I got them early my time, and it all got taken care of, and they were given the grants. Okay, the two groups of people that I was the liaison for, yeah, they were given the grants, and it all unfolded in the way that we would love it to. So here's the thing. This Tara Brach, I read a statement by Tara Brach, and what she says is, there is something wonderfully bold and liberating about saying yes to our messy, outrageous, persistent unfoldment. Don't you love that? I do. It's just, yeah. So we get to uphold our truth, stand in our strength, and be exactly who and whose we are. So I am inviting you to be your own ADT, uphold your truth, and allow the unconditional love of the divine to surround it all. And so it is. I'm complete.
Thank you, Reverend Verona. That was so beautiful. And Margo, over to you.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night is true. I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper, you got nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue